Welcome back to PCM Yeti. It's episode 73. So I've been spending the last 4, almost 5 hours going through, searching nation by nation, writer by writer, of anyone 3 stars or above. The lower, I checked a few with the 2.5 stars here and there, but the writers that aren't good enough to be on the team, even if they have 6-star potential, and I certainly hope that plenty of them do. But even if they have 6-star potential, they're not going to be good enough to be a supporter on our team anytime soon. And the AI does not do 3-year contracts. They do 1 or 2-year contracts. And so at some stage, while they're still in the earlier to mid development, that writer would become available. And when I search next year or the year after, they'll pop up in my search. That allows me to skip 75-80% of those in the pool, and it still takes me close to 5 hours to go through and search. Not only do I have to go through and do that process nation by nation in what is a growing pool. The pool's getting pretty dang big for us. It's getting a lot harder. I mean, we're down to just individual nations. I have 2.5 pages of what is just barely longer than 3 pages. So that's about 5/6 of the nations now snowballed, which is awesome. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy to have it, and each nation that we snowball now gives us better and better options. It's just difficult looking at the other nations now, and we're almost to a point, a tipping of the scales, where it's actually going to get way easier, because I'll just be able to look at everyone who's available and go, oh wait, no, they're from that one nation, and oh, they're from that one nation, and they're from that one nation, and just exclude them in my search. But otherwise, search everyone, and that'll really open things up. But anyway, after that long process, that's just the first step. The second step is I've then got to go into my shortlist, reevaluate, and cut that down. And I really haven't done that properly for about 2 seasons now, where I've really thinned that list out. The list is now down to 44 writers. And amongst those 44 writers, at least a dozen of them are my own writers on my team that are still shortlisted, because having them in the comparison makes a lot of sense. And so really we're down to roughly 30 or so writers that I have left that I'm looking at. That's long term. Who's free in the coming season and potentially able to be signed? Well, that list is just 20 writers, including my own guys. After looking through this whole group, here's the nuts and bolts of what there is left to deal with. For one thing, I have 5 writers on the team here and now with expiring contracts. 4 of them are on this list because Gottstein is definitely out. The other 4, in one way, shape, or form, are still writers I'd like to keep around on the team. First and foremost, it's Haglund, our top guy. 100%, without a doubt. If at all possible, we are going to look to retain him, and it could be costly. It could be very costly. Pickrell and Ponemar, 40 to 50%. I'm committed to keeping them back. Depends on circumstances. It depends on the other writers available. Depends on how interested everybody is in signing up with us for next year. Both of them I'd like to retain, but I'd be okay if they were gone. Abdullah, though, that's somebody who still has a lot of potential. Is still relatively young at 25, and offers us something, especially with a 76 Hills rating, and there's only a couple guys on the team that have anything like that. Abdullah is a good puncher, and we'd like to keep him around, and can climb, and has potential in areas that, makes it worthwhile. So that's where we're at. Like to keep all 4. I will, if all goes well with the Haglund part, we'll definitely sign 2, probably end up signing 3 of the 4. I'll end up picking between like Panamar and Pickrell, amongst others, for one of the last spots. But then from the other 16 riders on this list, the ones that are on my short list that have expiring contracts that are going to be available, I have picked out 2 lists of 5. So really, I'm looking at 3 lists of 5. The 5 on the team currently, 5 prospects for the future, and 5 guys that can be better for the team next season to make us of higher quality. Among the 5 prospects, they are all at least 3 stars. They all have at least 4.5 star potential. A couple of them have 5-star potential, but none of them are game changers. Then there's the group of the here and now. And depending on dossier cost, and that's going to be a big factor that I'm going to get to here in just a moment, Hagland could really impact that. Abdullah could impact that. Pickrell and Panamar could impact that. Right? How much will they cost me? Will then leave me with how much more do I have, and who can I commit it to, and how interested are they? So we'll start playing that game here in just a second. But there are 5 guys among kind of this top grouping, like above, well, actually from Yang and above. So 4 stars and above, mid-20s for the entire group other than Vlasov. And they are all 4 stars or better here and now. Yang is in between being a prospect and current. He's a 4.5 guy who's got some pretty good all around. But then as we start to jump up the list, I have Vashek, 5 stars here and now. That could help us, as we have 1 that's already signed up for next year. We have 2 if we get Hagland back, and then you need 1 more, and it'll probably push us into World Tour at a much better budget. We have Vashek, we have Miholjevic, Vlasov, and Berhe. Like the top 4 guys, the 5 stars. Like, who can we get? Really depends on dossier cost and whether they're interested in our team to begin with. Going back to the full list, the 44 riders that I have in our pool that I would love to have on our team, more or less, most of the group, right? Of that list, for one thing, Hagland comes in 4th best. Landon Shaw. Wait, I am up to 3 5-star guys. With one of them, Linder Shaw, leveling up. I forgot about that. I need to check into that here before we go much further. Vasilevsky could be coming along pretty quickly too, or Haddad. Definitely not G though. To join that. We don't want to lose Hagland. We really don't want to lose Hagland, but hopefully we can sign him. Here's the thing though. Looking at this list, let's now look. This is organized by quality. Look at cost. Their salaries. 61K. Like, I can't afford that. 57, 46. I can't afford any of those salaries. Here's Hagland at 4,000. He's going to be doing massive pay raise. But can we get him for 20, 25? Fingers crossed. But that's still a lot. 6K, 4K. Oh wait, that's my riders. 22K, 18, 2K. That's my rider. 14, 3. That's my guy. It's not until we get down to Derek G where we have anybody on some sort of substantial sum. Now, next year, that's going to be nice because at declining quality, for one, we probably won't re-sign him, but Derek G has done so much for us, snowballing-wise. Yeah, I'm glad we signed him. Kind of wish his contract would be expiring this year so I could either sign him for less or move on and have that money to spend, especially knowing now what Hagland has become and what I'm going to need to do to try to retain him. Slippery slope that I'm in there. I'd like to have that contract coming this year, not next year. But a lot of people suggested I should have done a 1-year deal with G. I'm really glad that I had a multi-year deal. I just should have done 2, not 3. But anyway, It's finally down to this point where we get into, oh, there's a contract that's too big. And, oh, there's contracts that are on the smaller side for guys that are not on our team. Way down in the 4-star range. So everything 4.5 star and above, I've made good deals, all but one. And everybody else is on bloated deals. It gets tricky to pry these guys away, and you really have to get the high interest. So these dossiers that I'm about to do are super important. By the way, before we get into that part, and I'm already well into this episode here, and we have not had any racing content, sorry about that, but here's also part of the reason why. My daycare program is this week. Super busy right now. This just took 5 hours. You got no content for that. I wasn't about to show you that long process. But I'm also having to leave in another 10 to 15 minutes for my work day for coaching. It's the last full practice of the basketball season, so a couple games left to go, and this at the end of this week, and then my season's done. In fact, daycare program's Friday. My last game is Friday, right before the program. I gotta rush home to MC that. Anyway, so I'm on a super limited time frame, and the dossiers still aren't done. Some of you have asked to show the process, and I can't show the whole process, but I'll show this part of the process, and this will just be a dossier special episode, and we'll get into the Giro next time and all the sprints that come with that. All right, well, first things first, there's my 4 guys. Should have 5. I don't know why Gutstein's not showing up on this list. I haven't excluded him yet. Is he automatic at 100% because he's such a low level? Maybe. Oh, and then, of course, there's the prospect and the scouting that we're going to have to get after too, but no dossier required there. Hagland. Dossier point, the cost is low. The interest, though, is terrible. Hopefully he will take off, and we will stick with it and hope. But if we don't get him to green, if we don't get him to 100%, Hagland is going to certainly, without a doubt, be unaffordable. But the other 3 all come in very cheap and already with interest. So that's good. That leaves me with points to spend right here, right now. We still have 19 points to now get into, well, the 5 big names, and I've got 1 prospect that I definitely want to sign, so let me see where he's at. All right, it's only 1 point. I'm just going to go ahead and go for it. All right, Burhi is 12 points. We'll see where the others are, because he's also at no interest. I was hoping with age that Vlasov would be a little more affordable, but he has no interest, and the dossier cost is too much. Vlasov will not be a target. There is hope for Miholjevic, 5 stars, so that could really help us out. 9 points is a little expensive, but it's not crazy. It's not out of hand. It's only half of what I have right now, even. And there is some interest right off the bat. Vasek is in the exact same scenario. So 9 points, both of them having some interest. We might be able to get one of those 2 up to that 100% range, giving us a 4th 5-star guy. If we could re-sign Hagland and one of them, that would be a massive coup for our team. I'm worried about the budget pricing us out of almost all of these guys. We've got to be able to get one of them signed. That'll give me 3 5-star guys. But then after that, it becomes go after the Mark Puck and probably the next one that I'm going to be looking at, which is Yang, as the 2 most likely able to sign guys. So Yang comes in at just 3 points and a fairly high interest level. So I think what I'm going to do is, I have 18 points remaining right now, is I'm going to go back and get Miholjevic and Vasek started. And that's going to give me a pool of 3 5-star guys to go after, including Hagland. And then in the second dossier period, I'll spend the 3 points on Yang, saving up the rest from there to go after some of the other, or I guess get the other prospects lined up, and probably just not go after Burhi. Too good. After we get into World Tour, maybe down the road we can sign Burhi, but of course he's 27 now, so if we're talking 2 to 3 years from now, probably 2 years from now at 29, would I still want him? Well, if he's 5.5 stars and I can afford him, maybe we would. But for now, I think that's going to be the plan. So Miholjevic and Vasek are going to be those top targets with Haglund, and then Yang and Puck will be the other two big targets, along with retention of Abdullah, Panamar, and Pickrell. So those 5 guys kind of filling out the rest. It's a pretty small list that I'm getting after, and with the potential of, well, really the entire group, but in particular a few of them being quite expensive, it could backfire completely. I'll do that work off camera and confirm those dossiers, but that's gonna do it for this episode. Sorry, it's really short and very specific on what it is. It's a dossier video, it's all we've got, but I now have about 5 minutes till I need to leave, and I have to edit this video in those 5 minutes to get it out to you. There's only going to be a couple of cuts in it, so it should be pretty quickly and easily done, but that way I can get this out for you tomorrow. We'll be into the Giro though with the next episode, and Grand Tour's coming, so big things coming in this series. Sorry for the shorter one, but that's going to do it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.